Okay, so I've done the welcome. I'm going to do a short presentation on the Cloud Pack for Integration 101. We can do a lot of deep dives in the following weeks on any of these sections if you want to. I also intend to get guest speakers in from the lab. I've chatted to the guys there. They're willing to do our sessions, whatever we need. I'll have a short news section, and then we can maybe plan for future meetings if there's time left. Suggestions what I would do for this meeting, because it's a user group meeting, we do what the people wants in the group, is that I will do a news hot from IBM Integration Press. I will try and do every week kind of a demo, 10-15 minutes on one of the areas in one of the products. Maybe for next week we can do something on App Connect Professional. It's nice, slick demos. We'll do a question and answer session and maybe a general discussion session. And if there's any other comments, either pop it for me in the chat box, or just unmute yourself and say, Francois, please, Also during this session, please interrupt me at any time, and we can go from there. So when we want to do modernizing, I know it's a buzzword these days, and what do we mean by modernizing and all of those kind of things, and it's a lot more than just container packaging things out there. What is our business value for modernizing integration with the Cloud Pack for Integration? So that is correct. We do spell pack like that in IBM. We like 3-letter words. Okay, so we drop certain letters when we go into certain areas. We did that many years ago as well when we used the word support pack. That used a C at the end, PAC, so we dropped the K. So that was, integration, we're doing things like that. So what we're doing, some of the business value for the Cloud Pack for Integration is you can modernize at your own pace. We're thinking about how do you do this? You get the bimodal or multimodal kind of movement of programming, where your legacy systems might be slower, your front-end systems might be faster. When we move into the containerized approach, we actually expect a very agile programming environment in there, and how do we do that? We also definitely increase efficiency. I show you some slides of where we've measured it actually within some of our customers. We employ built-in features, including templates, pre-built connectors, asset repository that is actually growing quite fast at the moment with new facilities in there to drive the speed in integration development. And at the same time, we reduce cost. I'll show you what we do. And then we want to integrate with flexibly. So we want to leverage a wide range of integration styles, and we understand that a lot of people might tackle it from the API point of view. Some people tackle it from a messaging point of view. Other people like the integration, hardcore integration programming, and so on. So there's more than one way of tackling this, and we would like to make that a seamless experience. We can actually quantify the benefits. We know we can reduce your costs for integration by 1/3. The speed 3 times faster. We can leverage your consolidation trade-up savings. When we trade up in this kind of environment, there's some advantages for non-prod environments and so on. There's a link on the slide, a case study of how we've achieved this cost savings. Why IBM has a bit of marketing going, read it. But this is the basic slide we will see around the Cloud Pack for Integration. There's a set of products in there. And there's some common components around it. There's governance, analytics, management, deployment that you gain from a common platform, and asset sharing, and there's a unified user experience. This unified user experience, I would say, is starting out there. We've got integration screens that cover all of the products. So if we look at somebody like Gartner, they've said that business application experiences and architectures, as well as the entire business software landscape, will change drastically in the next 5 years. Now, we all know they do a lot of research. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. But we can already see there's a massive change in the way we're doing business today versus only 5 years ago. So the ability of application leaders And this is a new term for me, application leaders, but it can include people like CIOs, COOs, your lead architects, your decision makers, your forward thinkers, your thought leaders in your organization. So the ability of application leaders to realize their application visions for the future depends on the plans they put in place today. And they're popping up with some interesting figures out there. For instance, that in the next, from between 2018 and 2023, so we just about in the midpoint of that now, we're going to see 500 million new apps out there. Now, that is more than in the previous 40 years. So the acceleration is dramatic out there, and we need to think about how we're going to control that. At the same time, we start off with a 40% technical debt. And we're actually adding new technical debt on top of what we've got out there. So some companies are spending a huge amount of their money on how to work with this technical debt. And face it, our legacy applications, and even some applications from 10 years ago or even younger, it's not built, it's not set out there to be optimal integration points. We know there's a ton of applications out there that don't even have APIs. The only way they can integrate is maybe consuming a flat file. The newer ones might have WSDL interfaces, some have MQ interfaces, messaging interfaces, and then the newer ones have got REST interfaces. But there's a lot of applications out there that's not really built for integration, and hence, why integration is a massive topic today. Because guess what? Our business today is still run by those old applications out there. And if we can find a way of integrating with them, then we save ourselves maybe a few months or a few years of time. We're buying ourselves time because we don't have enough elbow grease out there to refactor or rewrite these applications in the modern way. And all of this leads to a new focus on integration. And as IBM and Gartner and other companies has identified that the points on the bottom left is driving this. So SaaS adoption, most of us has got some kind of SaaS applications we're using today. If it's not in our personal capacity, then definitely in our corporate capacity. Artificial intelligence is playing a massive role today. It's bigger and bigger. That's automation. We think about blockchain, and I know Mark just went for coffee. Maybe he's back by now, but he's a big talker on our side for blockchain and what we're doing with blockchain today. We've got even initiatives. We want to use blockchain to help us cope with COVID-19. Internet of Things, specifically in modern cities, is playing an important role. My health provider is monitoring my driving with the help of IoT. All kinds of things like that. Our partner ecosystems is growing dramatically, and integration really between all of these systems is key. Microservices is playing a massive role, and you guys that sat through some of my integration modernization workshops already know that I talk quite a bit about microservices and how does it work. Then hybrid and multi-cloud architecture is something we believe will still be there. A big portion of the applications we use today will still be there, 5 years from now, 8 years from now, 10 years from now. And we still need to make business from them. So through 2020, we believe that integration, Gartner believes that integration will count for 50% of the time and cost of building digital platforms. Cloud native is key. Whether modernizing existing applications, application architecture, or building new business platforms and applications, cloud native principles will be essential if we want to get speed, flexibility, and digital readiness. And this is a big discussion point. We could tackle it sometime. But IBM we're gearing ourselves to and we're completely pivoting the company to work in this way. So successful enterprises are leveraging these techniques. A big portion of my modernization workshops goes around centralized integration team today we believe needs to move to a culture and skill transformation where we've got decentralized ownership. And we've got reasons and ideas on why it will work and why it's already working in some areas. We look at the monolithic architecture, where there's a centralized deployment versus a build once, deploy anywhere, optimize data and workload placement. Go and do a little bit of a research on cattle versus pets in the IT field. There's some very interesting discussions around our current monoculture culture, where we say monolithic architecture, where we say we want to keep things alive like a pet. We feed it, we make sure we spend a lot of time in our ops environment to make sure it doesn't go down. It's a very different way that if we go to the modernized kind of world. And then multi-clouds and vendors, it's hard to connect across clouds to point products in the right area. So the hybrid integration platform is going to be very important, specifically if you're sitting with any kind of legacy application that's going to be difficult to move to the cloud. In South Africa, of course, we sit with the added complexity of the little thing we call latency, and we struggle to get past that one. So really, private clouds is playing a big role in our environment. We believe we can do a third reduction in the integration cost and 3 times faster, and you know, it might be a discussion point for the future as well. So one of the massive things out there is agile integration, and go and do a search on agile integration architecture, a booklet by Kim Clark, that is Kim K-I-M, and Clark C-L-A-R-A without the E at the end. There's fantastic information in there. It's about 73 pages to read. But we believe that we need to gear agile integration around people and process, architecture and technology. This is our IBM Cloud Pack for integration. So there's a set of products in there, and they do things like between them all for asset sharing and governance. But the products is really API lifecycle. From our side, the API Connect product. There's application and integration, that is App Connect or IIB or Message Broker, depending on how you're calling it. We've got enterprise messaging in there, that's MQ. We've got the events, that's event streams based on Kafka, and high-speed transfer for big documents, but it's moving into the small transactional environments as well now as our Aspera product, and underpinned by integration security. Of course, that's data power, either your own data power or a virtual data power box that is sitting out there. So the Cloud Pack for integration gives us the broadest integration capabilities. It's extremely unique in the world today, where we cover all of this. You buy one part number, and then you can go and deploy in this environment out there. You can deploy where needed. It runs all on OpenShift. So when the platform is in place, doesn't matter if it's on Azure, AWS, on-premise, you know, the IBM Cloud, it will run for you. And of course, because it's from IBM, enterprise grade, it's secure and scalable out there. So we've seen that slide before. All right. Just to finish off the presentation side of what I'm trying to do, some news. There's the link for this presentation and this recording and everything else we will do in this area will be, for now at least, this link down here. I will send you just one thing from an IBM Think. IBM Think, of course, was cancelled this year because of the COVID-19, which it's a virtual event now. I believe I can click on that link, so everybody can register for Think now. It's for free. It will be on May the 5th and 6th, complete virtual event. If I look at the overview, Accelerate Essential Recovery and Transformation, May 5th to 6th. There's a full curriculum. If you go there, you can get your free pass. There's some reasons to attend, discover and adapt to the new ways of working, get live guidance from experts and the community, and build your skills with access to interactive deep dive sessions. Guys, those of you that's attended Think before, this is just going to be the virtual version of what we're trying to do out there. IBM's response to COVID-19. So anyway, from a more serious point of view, COVID-19, we here from IBM is doing a massive response out there in the world. We're trying to assist where we can. Some IBM initiatives is we accelerate research for the doctors, scientists, and organizations. We're doing a trusted information center and resiliency and adaptation out there. So to accelerate the fight against COVID-19, the White House, the US Department of Energy, and IBM have created a consortium to bring together the best supercomputers in the world. Over 330 petaflops of capacity and counting. I presume that's a massive computing environment. So and researchers can submit the proposals. And in fact, we already got a lot of work running in those big machines to assist in modeling the response to COVID-19. From a trusted information, IBM, of course, owns the Weather Channel. There's a lot of free weather information that's going out now to the world for the next months, so that anybody can tap into that information, and whatever research they want to do, they can do on it. We've got Micromedics and Dynamet for our clinicians, so it's specifically for our doctor environment, and we've got Watson Assistant for citizens. You can actually go out there today, if you're in any organization, you can write a Watson Assistant and give an automated response to your company or to South Africa if you want to do something like that. There's several of these assistants running across the world already that give specific information around COVID out there. For now, it's free. Just go and use it, please. We've also got our call for code. We've added to the call for code this year the COVID-19 response. If you think you can code and you can assist, pop in there, see what you can do. If you can deliver an hour a week, that's good. Some of our coders can do amazing things in short space of time to assist the world. There's resources for remote learning. We've opened up a ton of our learning stuff for customers, business partners, and for ourselves. So we adapt to the virtual learning for technology, online courses and other resources. If you want those things, pop in here, you will get there. And we've got an action guide specifically of what we can do. We've also got the business solutions for COVID-19 disruptions. There's 3 months on free usage or greatly reduced payments for any of our business users out there. Pop in there, have a look and see what you can do. And I think that's the bulk of what I want to just push via presentation. What I would like to do is to see what do you guys want from the future. Okay, I'm gonna, for now, while we're in lockdown, I'm gonna do this meeting once a week. Maybe if we move out of lockdown, we can do it once every 2 weeks, once a month. We will see where we go. I'm also going to try and do it, maybe in different time slots. And I appreciate not everybody can come to this one. So, any suggestions from anybody on the call?
Hi, Francis here from. Hello.
Yes, I can hear you.
Francis, I would like to hear customer stories, like how our customers are using these products. How do they derive value? I hear that, like when you said that they are saving time and their integration efforts are reduced to 1/3. But I want to know, like, what are the use cases? For example, where do they make use of the event streams? So these cases will be extremely valuable to reproduce in other regions. Because ultimately a bank is a bank, and they are always looking at, let's say, replicating the success stories or new use cases. And similarly, like government use cases would be great, or other telco use cases would be great.
Okay. So that's a good idea. I'll reach out to our customers to hear if there's anybody that wants to do a customer slot, maybe, and just give us a few minutes feedback on what they're doing. Thanks for that, Francis. There was somebody else that tried to talk as well. Yes, Paul.
Francois, it's Nick here from Nedbank. I agree with the use case. Francois, I think the use cases are great because it makes it a bit more real for us, so we can see the patterns and the application of the technology. But then there's another discussion that I think we should maybe have between the different stakeholders, and that's maybe something that the other banks, other guys, are also struggling with, and that is the role of enterprise integration in this new world. In your presentations and roadmaps, there's one view that shows agile integration, moving away from SOA into we call the the distributed teams, right?
Yeah.
But that's a bit fluffy. I think we need to maybe have a bit of a roundtable on that and just discuss what that physically means with the new cloud native application architectures, you know, and because as an example, in the past we would have positioned enterprise integration in certain areas, and I think those areas are now no longer suitable for enterprise integration. So there's sort of a thought process we need to go through.
Absolutely. I think one of the things that we're all grappling with, you know, is how do we take our estate from the last 30 years and sorry, and without disrupting majorly what we're trying to do, we also want to play with the new kids out there. You know, we want to move forward. We know that there's a massive challenge that if we don't modernize specifically, you know, our front end information that people can get to, that specifically the younger generation tends to hop around. There's no loyalty to a brand. You know, if they find something else, something better, and you know, I see we compete in this new market. You know, is very important, Nico. And I think there's lots of discussions we can take there, because typically modernizing from an application point of view might be different than from an integration point of view, than from and even inside integration, you know, what does it mean to modernize from a people point of view, or to modernize from an MQ point of view, you know, or an API point of view. And I would like to talk to, you know, senior architects like you guys, and maybe set up a session so we can hear what you guys think as well. So thank you for volunteering, Nico.
No, absolutely. And you'll see that's why Nedbank has also sent through a set of questions. We're busy compiling those questions around not only how IBM Cloud Pak for integration is portable across hybrid multi-cloud, but also how IBM Cloud Pak for integration is integratable with different platforms, public service platforms. So if I'm building an application, and we're seeing this very often, where it's, let's say it's a web application, even a microservice-based application architecture, and that application wants to integrate with a specific Azure or Amazon PaaS service, you know, the trend in the market to start getting standard adapters for that. You don't go and write your own code from scratch. I'm not saying it's low code, but I think that's where the connector discussion will come into play. And yeah, quite keen to see what the future is.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Nico. Thanks, Nico. That's great feedback. Yeah, no, we will definitely do that. So I appreciate the fact that we need to, you know, in our community, in a call like this, we need some entry-level topics, but we definitely need some really advanced topics as well, so we can see as a user group, you know, how can we help each other and get new ideas out there. And I find specifically, you know, even in my role where I see a lot of people, you know, I see, you know, somewhere between 100 and 150 customers every single year, and different customers. So if I see 10 people from Nedbank, you know, that's only one customer. So I see lots of different ideas in there, but I also appreciate the fact that very often I've got a very narrow view on the world out there. So we can definitely broaden our minds.
Jacques from Absa. You know, from hi, Frans, and everyone else. So what we are actually moving to a micro world where we actually federate your integration out to the business verticals. Is you get chaos. So we're going to have a massive challenge in that. I mean, previously you had domain experts in integration doing centralized integration. Now you're expecting the business verticals who know nothing about integration to take over that role. Firstly, they don't have the skills, and some business verticals even have teams that can perform this duty. So from our Absa point of view, we've got a massive challenge there.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that. You know, I was chatting just a few days ago to somebody, you know, and from IEM we call that the long tail of integration, where you've got the hardcore integrators sitting there, but you've got also the citizen integrators sort of sitting inside the business vertical, and they're doing some integration work. And you've also got the business person itself that is doing some integrations. So that's an interesting topic. We can definitely tackle that and see how does companies handle that. From our side, I've got a slide there around it. I just don't have it at hand right now. But from our side, we call it the long tail of integration. What we also do have is that how in a new world of cloud native development, the world of containers and Kubernetes and OpenShift and those kind of things, how it actually assists our business users and definitely our citizen integrators on how to do full-fledged integration kind of work. So we've thought about that, and we've got quite a few ideas around that. So I will definitely add that as a topic that we can discuss. Thanks for that, Jock.
Just to echo what he said, that's the reason why I made the proposal to talk about where integration plays as well, because I think traditionally we had a lot of walled gardens. We had an application team and a separate integration team. But now beyond that, we also have these business teams that he's talking about. We call them squads. And I think we as a technology leadership forum need to start creating some simple guidance as to what patterns and what technologies are applied where based on certain characteristics, like portability is a good example of that. If you're creating an integration component or workload that's closer to the application, but it doesn't really have to be portable, sure, go and do it whatever you want to do. It doesn't have to create an Azure function and put an API on top of it and Bob's your uncle. But if you're creating something that is more reusable, contains differentiating logic or even core logic, potentially consider more portability. So those are sort of the characteristics and principles that we started developing to figure out whether we let it go into those teams and if they get their own skills, or whether we a little bit more concerned about it beyond the guardrails to put patterns and platforms down.
Very interesting, very interesting. I like what I hear, Nico. We can definitely put a discussion around that together. At the same time, I don't know if Paul is still online. I know Paul has done quite a bit of work around APIs and what they believe APIs is and how they can work and all kinds of things like that. So those kind of things will dovetail in what we're trying to do. Okay, guys, we've got a few minutes left. Any more ideas?
Francois, this is Kieran. Maybe just a comment to echo what Nico and some of the guys have been saying is I think when we do these integration modernization workshops, we sort of put down the framework for approaches. And I think what a lot of our customers are battling with is what is a practical starting point of starting that journey? Instead of tackling the long tail of integration first, what are some of the quick wins that we can start with and get going on that journey? So I think maybe what we should look at doing is pick specific sort of integration types and see how do we break off legacy patterns that are cumbersome and introduce risk to our customers.
That's a fantastic idea. The one way we can split it is we can discern or differentiate between modernization use cases versus new cloud native applications and the integrations architectures that support them. And what you'll typically find is that we, all of us, have to sort of motivate why we need to invest in these platforms. And the chances of us getting investment funding for new application architectures is almost zero at this point in time. But our ability to potentially motivate for funds to modernize existing applications with defined benefit is much higher. And then we can show value, and then we can basically build on top of that.
Yeah, Keenan, and I think, Francois, I mean, I had a conversation with some of our SIs on these entry points. Yeah, so we can definitely sort of put a view together as what we think a logical starting point could be. And yeah, keen to see where that goes as part of a forum like this.
I would love our customers that's on this call, to tell us what do they think about that as well, so that we can get ideas of what they think is an entry point, and maybe we can build it out further. Excellent idea. Okay, guys, 2 minutes left. Anybody else wants to add something?
Francois, I just want. Sorry, someone else talking.
Sorry, this is Walid Kawasmi from Arab Bank. How are you?
My Arab Bank friends, not too bad at all. How's it going?
Long time, huh?
Long time. I haven't seen you for a few years. You need to invite me back there so I can go and visit some of your fantastic sites again.
Of course, after this relief, we'll do it. No worries.
100%.
Sure. Actually, one point regarding the cloud back for integration. as you know, we are investing now in our cloud infrastructure, and the prerequisites are too many to have the existing integration application moving to cloud applications. So thinks about the future of this layer.
Yes, Walid, and I think I was privy, and some of the other guys in this call as well would know that we do roadmap calls from IBM, and it was quite interesting. I actually chatted to some of the guys after the official roadmap call we had a few days ago with one of our customers on where do they taking some of these areas, what's going to happen next. And there's some fantastic ideas out there. If you want to set up a roadmap call with IBM, pop me an email. You've got my email address. And we can definitely have that discussion with you guys as well. Absolutely no issue at all. Please, there's some very interesting things. And yes, very often people think, IBM, we're this big monster out there, we're very slow to turn and those kind of things. I believe that we're moving a lot faster these days. So please contact me. Anybody else on the call as well, if you want a future view of what we're trying to do. There's an NDA to be signed, those kind of things. But yes, we can do that. No problem.
Yeah, as you know, my question was just because we are capitalizing on IBM products, so that in details, at least we will be ready for the future. Thank you so much, Francois.
Absolutely a pleasure, Walid. And in fact, I had a discussion with Chris just before this call, where we said that we need to do a generic roadmap call maybe for this session. We don't need an NDA, so we can't then say everything. But yeah, okay. Guys, it's 10 o'clock on the spot. I've got still a bit of time to stay online, but please, if you want to drop off, I won't take any offense. But if there's more comments there, please, you're welcome to give it to me now.